uh, I discovered that some students have problems with this kind of question, where you have, just like this second question in particular, where you have to subtract a number from a negative number, -5, -4, and they are always kind of confused on how to solve this kind of problems. So if you have a similar problem like this video is for you, because I'm going to try my possible best to break these things down using life applicable terminologies. In fact, in this case, to be more specific, we're going to use business terminologies, what you do every day in your buying and selling, because funny enough, this concept applies to what we do every day as a child, as a man, as a woman, in buying and selling, and it's just what we're supposed to do in mathematics. So we're going to start right off. Now let's consider this first question, 3 minus 7. Now if you start up early in mathematics in your basic classes, your teacher is going to tell you that 3 minus 7 cannot go. 3 minus 7 cannot go. And what's the reason for that? You cannot actually subtract the larger number from the smaller number. It's not possible. And it's also life applicable, because imagine you have 3 naira in your account and you want to make a withdrawal of 7 naira. Even the ATM machine, for those that have used an ATM before, is going to give you a feedback message that says insufficient funds, because actually what the ATM is trying to tell you that it cannot go. However, if we also want to be very, very realistic, you can come to a point where you are, even though what you have is not enough, but there is such a thing as being in debt. I'm going to first of all try to explain this using the number line method. And what does a number line look like? Let me just draw. A number line is a horizontal line where numbers are represented. Alright, so a number line has a midpoint. It has a midpoint, and that midpoint is 0. Alright, if you go further in your physics, this 0 is called the point of origin. Is the originator of virtually all the numbers from the left or from the right. Going to the right, this side, you have positive numbers. So you have the first number after 0 is 1, the second one is 2, the third is 3, the fourth is 4, and so on. Alright, you can do this till whenever you get tired, so I'll stop at 7. And then you have -1, you have -2, you have -3, you have -4, you have -5. So I'll just stop here. I can continue until I'm tired of doing that. Now 3 minus 7, what is it going to be? I'm going to come to the number line where I have 3, the point 3, and I'm going to stay there. And then because I want to subtract 7, you notice that the negative numbers are towards the left hand side. The negative numbers are towards the left hand side, so I'm going to move towards the left 7 times, and that's what it means by 3 minus 7. So you see, I'm going to move the first 1, I'm going to move 2, I'm going to move 3, I'm going to move 4, I'm going to move 5, I'm going to move 6, I'm going to move 7. Now if I've moved towards the left 7 times, I ended up at -4. So 3 minus 7, according to the number line method, is going to give us -4, and that's very correct. Like I stated that earlier, also depending on the level that you find yourself, you might not want to draw this number line every time. Just like we also taught in division, maybe say you want to do 10 divided by 2, where you start drawing heads and start sharing. Maybe draw the head of your friend, start sharing the oranges among yourself, and you keep sharing it until you get to 10, and then you now count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and each person gets 5 oranges. But you concept without having to draw a number line. But if your level appreciates that fact, maybe you're in your JS1 primary 5, and your mom or your dad has put this video up for you, then you can feel free to use the number line method and get your answer. Now, in order for us to understand this concept, we're going to use, just like I stated earlier, the techniques that we use in buying and selling every day. And then for clearer understanding, I want us to take out these concepts to make it very easy for us. So we're going to do a before and after kind of thing. So what do I mean by before and after? Now I'm just trying my best to make this very clear to you. First of all, let's consider this 3 here. Let's consider this -5. Let's consider this -3. Now, this is what I mean by before. Alright, so anytime you see a problem like this, see the first initial number there as the amount of money that you either have or the amount of money that you're owing, as the case may be. If it's positive, like this is +3, just because of positive was not written does not mean it's not positive. Once you don't see a sign there, it means it's positive. So that's before. 3 is before, -5 is before, and -3 is before. So you're going to have it at the back of your mind that if you see positive before, it means that's the amount of money you have. That's the amount of money you have. Alright, but if you see negative before, it means that's the debt that you owe. You know, you're owing a debt. I know Jesus paid our debt, but it doesn't apply to the mathematics world. But if you see a negative after, the negative after suggests the amount of money you want to pay. Maybe you want to make a purchase, and if you see a positive after, it depicts the amount of money that you are receiving. You know, someone is trying to, you know, credit you, and that's the amount of money you are receiving. So if you understand this concept, these things are going to be very, very easy for you to, you know, begin to handle them. So let's use this our debit and credit mode to understand what we're doing in 3 minus 7 without drawing our number line. So like I stated out, if it's before, positive means what you have and negative means what you owe, that's the debt. And if it's after, negative means what you're paying for. You know, if you want to buy something in a supermarket or any pickup store, you have to pay a certain amount of money for each product you desire to live with. And then positive after means the amount of money you are receiving. You know, someone sent you a credit. Now let's understand that 3 minus 7, this is +3 minus 7. What's going to be the answer? Now, like I said earlier, you're going to consider the first number there as the amount of money you either have or the amount of money owed. In this case, positive, that means I have 3 naira. Alright, in this part of the world that I'm domiciled, naira is the currency that we use. So feel free to replace it with the same value of what you use in anywhere you're watching from. So I have 3 naira, and minus 7 there means now this is after, and this is before. So before I have 3 naira, then because this is after, this is -7, that means I want to pay. Are you seeing that now? I want to pay. So this is just the case scenario where you have 3 naira and you go to a pickup store. I want to pick up, let's say, tissue paper of 7 naira. Now you notice that you are not going to be able to pick that up because you have 3 naira, you want to pay for 7 naira. So you can decide to pay using instrumental payments, and you just deposit the 3 naira. But using your intuitive capacities, you know that you still need an additional 4 naira to pick up the tissue, and we're going to put negative, and this negative sign is no longer, sorry for that, and this negative sign is no longer just mathematics where we have to put negative. This negative sign indicates that you still need to pay an additional 4 naira. So you see, that's how 3 minus 7 is going to give you -4, and you're no longer confused about this negative sign because it just shows that the amount of money you have initially is not sufficient to purchase for the product at 7 naira. You still have an additional 4 naira to pay. That's how 3 minus 7 is 4. So I believe this, my business approach of things, is going to make this very much easier for you. We have -5 minus 4. Now we're also going to use the number line again to try to solve that. The midpoint is always 0. Then moving to the right, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're stopping at 5 because 5 is the highest number I can see there. or rather 4 anyway, but I'll just stop at 5. Negative 5. Now because I'm a wait, I have to make this to be longer because we have is negative numbers that we have. So let me start from 0, and this is 1, and then moving to the left I have negative 1, I have negative 2, I have negative 3, I have negative 4, I have negative 5, I have negative 6, I have negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, 11, 12, and so on. Alright, now the first value there is negative 5, so I'm going to go to my number line and I'm going to start from the point negative 5, and because I want to do negative 4, is still going towards the left. Negative numbers are always towards the left, so I'm going to move 4 times backwards. So I'm going to move from here to this 1, you have 2 there, you have 3, and you have 4, and you see that moving 4 steps backward is going to end up at negative 9, and that's how you have negative 9 as your answer. Now using our business terminologies again, negative, this is before and this is after, this is after and this is before, and because of this is a negative sign, that means I'm in debt already. You see, this is not a good condition for you to be talking from a real life perspective. You're already in a debt of 5 naira, and then you want to pay for another thing. Let's say you're still in the same pickup store, you want to pay for another thing of 4 naira. Now you're in debt already of 5 naira, and you also want to pay 4 naira. Now forget about mathematics, negative and all these things. Think about this intuitively. You discover that if you're in debt of 5 naira, you also want to pay for 4 naira, you want to pay a total. Now that's why a negative sign is there, because you are still paying. In this case, this negative sign, explanation of that means you still have 9 naira to pay. Alright, you are owing 5 naira and you also want to pay 4 naira. So you see, you're paying all through, you're not receiving anything, you're just paying. So that's why a negative sign is there, and then you can now add up the total amount of thing you want to pay for. So since you have already put your negative sign indicating the fact that you're paying, you can just simply do 5 plus 4, because this is the total amount of money that you want to pay. So 5 plus 4 is going to give you 9, and that's how I have negative 9. So you see that these things are very simple and life applicable. So in the next case there we had negative 3 plus 8. Now let's explain this using the number line again, so you can feel free to always use your number line. I'm so sorry for this line is not really a straight line, but let's just manage with what we have. So the midpoint is always 0, and moving to the right you have positive numbers, or positive integers as you wish to call them. You have 6 there, you have 7, and you have 8, because 8 is the highest number I can see there. And then to the left, the negative, you have minus 2, you have minus 3, you have minus 4. So we can stop there. Now what's happening in this case? We are at minus 3 in our number line. As you can see, minus 3 is the first number there before, and this is after. So minus 3, we are going to move, because we want to do minus 3 plus 8. We're doing minus 3 plus 8. So you see, we are adding this time, and positive numbers are towards the right hand side. They are towards the right hand side. So from minus 3 we are going to move to the right 8 times. So let's do that. You have 1, you have 2, you have 3, you have 4, you have 5, you have 6, you have 7, you have 8. Yeah, you have 8, and that's the end there. So you see, we stopped at positive 5. So that's why minus 3 plus 8 will eventually give you positive 5. Now let's also run this quickly with our business approach. Negative sign there means, before there means I'm in debt. So I'm in debt of 3 naira, and positive after means I'm receiving. So let's say that you're in debt of 3 naira, and then you run to your fortress, your stronghold, which may be your dad or your mom, and she gives you 8 naira. So you're receiving 8 naira there. So what do you think intuitively, not trying to do it around the mass way? If you're in debt of 3 naira and your mom gives you 8 naira, you're eventually going to pay the, let's say the pickup store. Let me write that again. The pickup store that you got, the debt from, you're going to pay. Now you see, first thing you're going to consider in this concept is that you're going to check the amount of money you are receiving, compare it to the amount of money you're owing. If it is greater, that means you're going to pay and have a change, so you can easily put your positive already confidently, and then you can just do what I received 8 naira minus what I owe 3 naira. So you see I have 5, so that's how you're going to have positive 5. So I think with this concept, this becomes very easy for you. So all you need to do is consider the amount of money you're receiving vis-a-vis the amount of money that you owe, and if it's greater, that means you're going to have a positive value, indicating the fact that you're going to still have something left even after you've paid. And the word of mathematics is a word of harmony and peace. Just think about the word of mathematics like another word that is not this our physical world, because if this happened to be a real life situation where you have minus 3 plus 8, you're in debt of 3 naira and then you receive 8 naira, you might not want to pay immediately. Some business people might not want to pay immediately. They might want to make some investments, get more profits, and then pay this 3 naira without depreciating in value. However, mathematics word is a word of harmony, where immediately you're getting something, you're just balancing. All right, you don't wait till tomorrow, you don't wait till next week. As soon as you're receiving 8 naira, you're paying back 3 naira. So it's a word of harmony. So I think it has become very clear. Now I want to go over to the other basic arithmetic, because if you notice, everything we solved on is either we are subtracting or we're adding, but these are not the two. We don't have only two basic arithmetic operations. We also have multiplication and we also have division. Now if you want to do multiplication and division, you need to be familiar with this concept that if a negative sign multiplies a negative sign, or a positive sign multiplies a positive sign. What I mean by that is, if the signs are the same, that's a very easy way of remembering it. If the signs are the same, now negative here, they're the same. If they multiply, you're only going to get a positive. Positive the same. If you multiply, you also get a positive. But if they are different, negative and positive, you're going to have negative. Positive times negative, you're going to have negative. So please be familiar with this concept if you want to do multiplication and division. So let's say you have minus 3 now times negative 5. Now in this case, this is multiplication, and then you have negative here, you have negative here. So negative, like we already know, is positive. So my answer is going to be plus, and then I'll do 3 times 5, which is 15. So I have plus 15 as my answer. Let's see, I have another one. I have negative 8 times 2. Whenever you see just 2, it's going to be positive. All right, so this is going to be equal to negative positive. We know from this point that negative times positive is going to give us negative. So I have negative as my answer, and then 8 times 2, I have 16. So it becomes very easy for you to find your way through this kind of problems if you understand this concept. Let's do 2 more questions there on multiplication. Let's say we have some problem like negative 5 times negative 4. Let's do that. And so we have negative, the negative multiplying negative, that's going to give you positive. 5 times 4 is 20. That's how I have positive 20. And let's try another one. Let's say 3 times negative 6. Alright, this 3 is positive just because it was not written. Then positive negative is going to give you negative, and 3 times 6 is going to give you 18. So it becomes very simple. And let's try division. What if you have minus 20 divided by minus 5? I didn't write that division. Division is still virtually the same thing in multiplication. Negative divide negative is still going to give you positive. All right, positive divide positive is going to give you positive. Negative divide positive is going to give you negative, and positive divide negative is going to give you negative. So it's still the same concept. When the signs are the same, you're going to get negative. Now in this case, you see the signs are the same. It's negative dividing negative. So let's put it in this one: minus 20 divided by minus 5. So you see that this 5 can eventually cancel that, and then 20 divided by 5 will give you positive 4. And that's how to do away with the negative sign and get positive as your answer. So let's try the last question. We have let's say we have 30 divided by negative 6. 30 divided by negative 6 is going to be equal to 30 divided by negative 6. Let's put the sign there for a clearer view. And then the signs are not the same, so our answer is eventually going to be negative, and 30 divided by 6 is going to give you 5. And thus I have negative 5. So lastly, now let's try to solve a problem. Let me just concoct a problem there. I'm going to try to solve it. All right, so let's say we have 20 plus 20 plus let's say, open a bracket there, negative 3 plus 5, negative 3 plus 5, divided by let's say negative 11. Now what's this going to be? Let's try to solve that. If you remember what you learned on board mass, how to solve arithmetic problems, you have to do away with this B stands for bracket there, this B stands for bracket, O stands for off, D stands for division, M stands for multiplication, A stands for addition, and S stands for subtraction. So we're going to start with the bracket. This is going to be equal to 20 plus, now in the bracket you see we have minus 5. This is before, that means I'm in debt of minus 3. Sorry, this is minus 3. I'm in debt of 3 naira, and then plus there I'm receiving 5 naira. So if you owe 3 naira and you receive 5 naira, 5 naira is greater than what you are owing, so it's going to be positive at the end of the day. And then if you pay back, you're going to have 2 naira left, then divided by 11. If you go forward, you're not going to have, now we've opened the bracket. Now open the bracket, when positive is before a bracket, just open and the sign remains the same. So this is going to be 20 plus 2 divided by, sorry, this is negative 11 divided by negative 11. Now addition before now we're going to add 20 and 2, so we're going to have 22 divided by negative 11. And then finally this is going to be equal to, this is positive 22 divided by negative 11. That's going to be equal to positive, negative, they are not the same, so it's going to eventually give us negative, and 22 divided by 11 is going to give you 2. So that's how to do with all these problems where you have negative and positive sign, whether you're adding or subtracting or multiplying and division, all the 4 basic arithmetic operations. I think with this business approach, it's going to be very clear for you. So thank you for following through this video. Do well to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more videos as this. God bless you in no small way. All right.